Alright, you guys, welcome back to another episode of my playing through all of the Disney Villainous characters in solo mode. So if you haven't played solo mode, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the rules. It's really simple, but before that, I would really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe if you haven't already, and go ahead and drop a comment. All of these things make it a lot more possible for me to continue creating content. So I'll thank you in advance. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will get back to your comments. If you want me to play a specific villain next that I haven't already played, go ahead and let me know. I really don't have a ton of preference, so I will definitely listen to any suggestions. Alright, let's jump into really quick the rules. The D20 marks your rounds. There are 20 turns that you get in order to accomplish your objective, and the D10 is to roll in order to see if you get faded in between your turns. Now, I'll admit, this round with Scar was a little bit disappointingly easy, and I think there are a couple reasons for that. Some, I think, are because of the rules. I think a lot of it is because I just got lucky. Scar is a pretty interesting character in Disney Villainous because he actually wants to be faded to a certain extent, and that actually contributed to my benefit rather than my detriment in most cases. In order for Scar to win, he has to defeat Mufasa, and then Mufasa is added to a succession pile. Every hero that you defeat after Mufasa will also be added to the succession pile. Once the total power of heroes in that succession pile is 15 and you start your turn, you've won the game. Now, pretty early on in the game, Mufasa came out, which definitely helped me. Usually you'll spend at least 5 or 6 turns just hunting for Mufasa somewhere in the Fate deck. He did come out very first thing. He was one of the first heroes that came out, and I was able to not only get rid of Nala, who is another strong character, but I was able to get him out. And while I was very excited to get him to the gorge and defeat him with an actual stampede, it was taking too long, and so I just decided to overwhelm him with hyenas. Once I got Mufasa out of the way, it wasn't too long before Simba came out. And so having those two as the first 2 heroes that I defeated, obviously from a theme standpoint, you can see that my path to victory was pretty well assured once I got Mufasa and Simba out of the way of succession. The other 2 heroes that I ended up defeating in order to win were Zazu and Rafiki. Both were pretty easy to pick off at that point. I knew that I was going to have to get a lot of allies out onto the table, so I had held on to a decent number of hyenas and stampedes in order to really quickly be able to eliminate people who came out. The biggest struggle with Scar in general is his access to power. There is not a lot of access to power, and most of his cards are decently expensive, especially since you have to be playing a decent number of ally cards. I love the theme aspect to all of this. When you kind of step back from the game and think through what actually happened here, the victory was delicious. I mean, starting off, getting rid of Mufasa early on, Simba reemerges and having a battle with him. Once he's out of the way, it was pretty much easy going. And power the whole time was kind of in short supply. While I did have a lot of hyenas that I was able to move around and manipulate, my access to playing a lot of cards and doing a lot was fairly limited. This is really the only reason I keep Disney Villainous around, not because it's an amazing game, but because it just brings back a lot of those epic story points that I know from my childhood. So if you have one that you want to see, I'm kind of leaning toward Yzma for my next one. I love Ratigan as well. They're from the same expansion. I believe it's Evil Comes Prepared. And there's so many good villains that I'm anxious to dive into. I'm interested in the newest expansion to check out the Horned King as well. One of my favorite villains from all Disney. I just love the Black Cauldron though. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this really short digest of playing through Scar in solo Disney Villainous. and I hope you'll tune in for the next ones. I'm trying to keep these really short to about 5 minutes so they don't get really exhausting and overwhelming.